has said that he's going to play till the last ball, but very interesting developments coming in from Karauli in Rajasthan, because despite the fact that we've got so much evidence, Times Now SIT has been on the ground, but the top cop of Rajasthan, of Karauli, had some rather interesting derivation or explanation for what happened, and that is what we are going to be getting to you on the NewsHour Agenda. I am Padmaja Joshi, and remember, over the last 1 week since riots took place in Karauli and the main accused still remained at large, Times Now was on the ground to get you an in-depth investigation and every single detail. Now, under scrutiny, the police in Rajasthan held a press conference and declared that it was the procession. Now remember, there was a religious procession being taken out on the occasion of the Hindu New Year, which was pelted with stones, and that is when the riot started. Today, the top cop of Rajasthan said it is the procession that was the problem. The procession, which was pelted with stones as soon as it passed through a Muslim majority area, according to the police, exhibited a bad body language. Now, they say that is the reason why the violence started. A reaction to an action.
ऐसा है, उसकी भूमिका क्राइम में क्या रही है, उसकी इन्वेस्टिगेशन जारी है। जहां तक पुलिस के साथ बात करने की बात है, साथ चलने की बात है, जितने भी मौजूद लोग होते हैं, वो पार्षद है, डोंट फॉरगेट दैट, वो पार्षद है, जितने भी मौजूद लोग हैं उनको सहयोग के साथ हम साथ में लेते हैं और उनकी सेवाएं लेते हैं। अब उसकी भूमिका किस साइड में रही है उसका इन्वेस्टिगेशन किया जा रहा है। दोषी पाया जाएगा तो उसको गिरफ्तार किया जाएगा। जिस ढंग से जुलूस निकाला गया, प्रारंभ से ही जो जुलूस का एक बॉडी लैंग्वेज थी वो अलग तरह की थी, और एक फूटाकोट और हटवाड़ा के पास जाकर जुलूस में जो गाने इत्यादि चल रहे थे वो थोड़ा आपत्तिजनक थे। नारे नहीं लगाने चाहिए, जो क्योंकि उससे शांति व्यवस्था बिगड़ती है। नारे लगे, बाई चांस उन्होंने रिएक्ट किया, रिएक्शन भी गलत है, और उसका आफ्टर रिएक्शन जो एक के बाद एक करीब 90 संपत्तियों को नुकसान हुआ है, उसमें सभी धर्म और जाति के शामिल हैं।
The thing is, even if all that the senior police official is saying is true, there are several questions that still stay unanswered. First, that if Matloob Ahmad indeed is a person who was helping the police during the riots, why isn't he actually doing something to stop the violence in the pictures that we have shown you? More curiously, if indeed the police called Matloob Ahmad to the spot to seek his help, then why did they book him for rioting subsequently? In the FIR filed by the police, Matloob Ahmad is accused of rioting. Point number 2, if bad body language by the procession provoked the violence, then why did the police not stop this bad body language? If someone was raising provocative slogans or pelting stones or burning shops, why is the police, which is present at the spot, visibly inactive? And finally, if this was a reaction to an action by those who carried out the procession, what explains the stones and sticks that were kept on the roof of several houses in the vicinity of the route that was taken by the Shobha Yatra? How did the people who were stockpiling these bricks and sticks know that there would be an action to which they would have to react? More questions and answers, which is why now the police and the government need to answer, can the probe, which has been instituted, which has to give a report within a fortnight, be trusted at all?
एक तो व्यापारियों का कहना यह था कि हमारा सामान आज भी हम बताने के लिए तैयार हैं कि किसके मकान के अंदर किस जगह के ऊपर पड़ा हुआ है। पुलिस हमारे FIR भी दर्ज नहीं कर रही है और न ही उस माल को बरामद कर रही है। दूसरा, जो वहाँ के स्थानीय लोगों से हमने बातचीत की, वो कह रहे थे साहब शोभा यात्रा जो वाहन रैली के रूप में थी वो बिल्कुल शांतिपूर्वक निकल रही थी, लेकिन अचानक ऊपर से पत्थर आना शुरू हुआ। एक जिम है, उस जिम के अंदर सैकड़ों लोग इकट्ठे थे, अचानक उन्होंने पत्थरबाजी शुरू की, भगदड़ मची। तो एक ये सुनियोजित साजिश है, इसको हम दुर्घटना नहीं कह सकते, एक योजनाबद्ध तरीके से हमला कह सकते हैं।
मैं ऐसा मानता हूं कि राजस्थान या देश का कोई हिस्सा हो जहां पर भी हिंसा होती है या कोई भी व्यक्ति कानून को अपने हाथ में लेता है, उसकी निष्पक्ष जांच होनी चाहिए और सख्त कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए। संगठन या दल जिसने कभी अशांति फैलाने की कोशिश की हो उस पर सख्त कार्रवाई करनी चाहिए। मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि पुलिस अपना काम करेगी और इस हिंसा को, इस वारदात को अंजाम देने वाले जो लोग हैं उन पर सख्त कार्रवाई हो, चाहे वो किसी भी पृष्ठभूमि के हों, कहीं के भी हों। इसको राजनीति के दृष्टिकोण से नहीं देखना चाहिए।
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
All right, joining us on the debate, we have Dr. Sumanth Raman, political analyst, Lokesh Jindal, leader of the Congress, Kuntal Krishna, political analyst. My first question is to national spokesperson of the BJP, Guru Prakash. This was an action that invited a reaction.
Padmaja, we must understand that this is a communalism and appeasement politics of highest order. This is not the first time Rajasthan is seeing such a bloodshed. Hindus are being prevented from celebrating their festival. Is this a new mindset of the Congress party? No. Congress has been playing with the same classic textbook of minority appeasement for decades.
But why
and
are
this
you
is the
calling
reason.
it appeasement?
We have seen
Today the police
clear-cut
very clearly
evidences
said
of a Congress's ally.
The procession provoked. The procession provoked, they provoked, their body language was very bad, so the action invited a reaction.
No, this is a very pointless argument, Padmaja. When there is an alliance between the cops, the administration and apparently a very relevant stakeholder in this case, who is an instigator, is a Congress's ally. He's a Congress's person. Multiple evidences in the media have suggested that. So this is the reason that the Congress government in Rajasthan, they are providing an umbrella and support to all these unlawful elements. We have seen in the last couple of years, in the last 3 years only, 7 lakh FIRs have been registered in Rajasthan. What does it say about the law and order situation in Rajasthan? Crimes against Dalit, number 1 in Rajasthan. Crimes against women, number 1 in Rajasthan. It is the National Crime Records Bureau that is suggesting this data. It is the NCRB published by the MHA which is telling us all this data. So this mindset of the Congress party, which has been infected with this dual cancer of communalism and minority appeasement, is there in action in Rajasthan.
Kuntal Krishna, minority appeasement after violence.
Padmaja, see, what my friend from BJP, what he is trying to do is he is trying to set up a new narrative to whole of the incidents. While we look at the reports of the police, it suggests that they are leading towards an investigation where the so-called ally of the Congress party is also in the frame. That councillor who is so-called ally of Congress party is also in the frame. So now police has got a perspective.
What is the perspective?
A general man cannot impose his perspective to the police.
No, but sir, their perspective is
goes with a
very
perspective of
confusing.
investigation.
What is the perspective of the police? The police today said
No,
that Matloob Ahmad is a councillor, you must understand.
Yeah.
Sir, what is that councillor doing there in the middle of people holding dandas? What is he doing there? And the police seems to be suggesting that they called Matloob Ahmad to the spot. So then the police must answer, what was this man doing called by them in the middle of a riotous mob?
Padmaja, as a police officer, it is the duty of the officer in charge to call all the prominent people of that vicinity if there is anything like riot in that area. So what if police really called that Matloob Ahmad, who is councillor, to involve himself into stopping of that riot? I think police was doing a right job.
Really?
If we talk about police perspective. But
that's a great perspective. Now let me focus your attention and that of the viewer on what Matloob Ahmad was actually doing at the spot. So here is this respected councillor Matloob Ahmad in the middle of a riot, where, by the way, shops have already been set on fire because there is smoke rising from the background. Behind him, there are two men who are attacking a vehicle. They are hitting the vehicle with a lathi, and Matloob Ahmad walks past very calmly while men around him are raising slogans and running away. Listen to this, Mr. Kuntal Krishna, because now you are saying the police officer was right in calling Matloob Ahmad to the spot. Now let's see what Mr. Matloob did once he was called by the police. Watch this. So, Mr. Krishna, now that you've seen this visual, what exactly did Matloob Ahmad do once he came to the spot? Why was he calmly walking around with people who are attacking and armed?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me, sir? You've seen Matloob Ahmad, the esteemed councillor, and what he was doing once he reached the spot. So, can you help me understand what exactly was the purpose of him being called there by the police?
Padmaja, that is what police is investigating it all about. You got me wrong. Police called councillor of that area. Now police is saying that we are investigating everyone's role. Right. There are many more things to be investigated.
But you just
like
said
the reaction time.
Matloob. So
the
police
time.
called Matloob.
After the
now they are investigating
pelted.
what Matloob did after the police called him to the spot. So why did the police call him?
Padmaja, police called councillor of that area.
Okay.
Police called councillor of that area to help them to ease that.
And did he help them?
If see, there is a process of investigation.
Right.
There is a process of investigation, Padmaja. Police
so
is
the police
investigating
called
all these
Matloob
things.
to
Police has
help
to investigate
them.
many more things.
And it turns out that Matloob actually didn't help them. So now they are investigating why Matloob didn't help them after they called him to the spot to help them.
Police
so is that what the police is investigating?
Padmaja, police is investigating. Police is investigating every aspect.
What is the police investigating?
Is investigating every aspect, and police must do. If Padmaja, let me make something very clear to you.
Right.
Police has to investigate every aspect.
That is a very important point you have made. Yes, you are right. The police has to investigate every aspect. But we are just wondering who is the police investigating?
Yes.
Because the police is right now saying we are investigating the bad body language of the people who were beaten, but we actually are quite confident that the man who is in the middle of the mob was a councillor, and we must remember that. So, Guru Prakash, we have to begin by wondering what is the police investigating?
Padmaja, this is what we have been suggesting, that there is an understanding, understanding between the cops and the administration and the government. I think the question is directed towards me. The textbook modus operandi of the Congress government, not only in Rajasthan, but we have seen the similar apparatus operating in Maharashtra as well. The tacit understanding between Matloob Ahmad, the cops, the administration, and the support umbrella given by the Rajasthan government. Like I said, this is communalism, and this is not the first time that Congress government in any state is preventing the Hindus from celebrating their festivals. It was Hindu Navvarsh, and on the eve of Hindu Navvarsh, this sort of accident is happening. Are you suggesting that it's not planned? Are you suggesting that it's not deliberate? It was planned, and there is a direct Congress involvement in this incident. We request for a judicial probe. We request for a judicial inquiry.
Okay,
why is the government giving clean chit to all the
perpetrators?
Why is the government giving clean chit?
Here, Guru Prakash is saying that Matloob Ahmad was called because this was part of a plan, and the police and Matloob Ahmad were hand in glove.
Okay. Now, Padmaja, you spoke about the shops being burned.
Yes.
Would you care to know the number of shops that were burned and who were the owners of those shops? Maybe you could elucidate a little bit on that. Or maybe it's an inconvenient fact because it doesn't suit the narrative here.
Right.
Because according to one media report, I can tell you that they say that 13 shops were actually set on fire.
Yes.
Out of which 11 belong to members of a minority community and 2 belong to members of a majority community.
What are you trying to insinuate?
So,
I am not going to hide any inconvenient fact. Make your point. Make your point. There is no uncomfortable truth. Make your point.
Unless you are saying that Matloob set fire to his own community shop, which is what you are in effect alleging.
I am very glad you brought that up, sir. Not only am I going to give you the facts, I am going to give you the facts from the mouth of the people that you trust the most. In my hands, I have, don't worry, sir, all facts will be out there. Inconvenient, convenient, facts are facts. Nothing is convenient, inconvenient to me. Now let me actually quote to you. I will tell you. And you know how I will tell you? I will tell you from the FIR that has been filed by Rameshwar Meena, who is the SHO. Sir, don't heckle me. I'm answering your question. Dr. Sumanth Raman, for your convenience and for the viewing of our viewers, let me read to you from the FIR that has been filed not by the BJP, not by the bad body language people, but by Rameshwar Dayal Meena, Police Nirikshak, which is the SHO of the Rajasthan Police. What does he say? He says, basically he describes the convoy. He says कि इस जीप में फिट किया हुआ था, पिकअप वाहन फिट किया हुआ था, उक्त वाहन में विभिन्न प्रकार के हिंदू संगठनों के गाने चल रहे थे, जैसे भारत माता की जय, वंदे मातरम, जय श्री राम के नारे लगाते हुए वो रवाना होकर हाथी घाटा, गुलाब बाग सर्कल, लिसन टू मी सर, गुलाब बाग सर्कल पहुंचे। तभी बांस बल्लियों की दुकानों व मड़ियारों की मस्जिद के पास पहुंचे तो बाइक रैली शांतिपूर्वक निकल रही थी। When the bike rally raising slogans of Jai Shri Ram and Vande Mataram reached the मड़ियारों की मस्जिद, it was completely peaceful. तभी ऊपर से तथा सामने स्थित बांस बल्ली वालों के मकानों के ऊपर से अचानक बाइक रैली में चल रहे लोगों के साथ चल रहे पुलिस वालों के ऊपर सुनियोजित ढंग से अंधाधुंध पथराव करना शुरू कर दिया। बाइक रैली में शरीक लोगों पर उक्त मस्जिद व आसपास के मकानों व दुकानों की छतों से अंधाधुंध पथराव करना शुरू कर दिया, जिससे रैली में शरीक लोगों में भगदड़ मच गई। फॉर द बेनिफिट ऑफ पीपल हु कांट अंडरस्टैंड हिंदी, द SHO of the Rajasthan Police has said that the bike rally was progressing peacefully when from the roof of the mosque and the nearby gym and houses, people started pelting stones. You don't care that there was a peaceful bike rally, sir, on which there was a stone pelting done. You still want to insist on how many shops were burnt. Tell me, sir. Tell me, just a second. I will come to that in a second.
You said it. You have not answered my question.
45 shops were burnt. How does that answer my question? My question is that how can you blame the bad body language of the procession when the SHO himself is saying that a peaceful bike rally was pelted with stones?
The investigation is going on. There is going to be a report which is going to be submitted in the next few days. You want to conduct a media trial, conveniently putting away the fact that members from the minority community had a significant loss of livelihood because many of the shops that were burnt belong to them. You don't want to mention this.
Sir, you know, you are infinitely more concerned about the shops, but you are not concerned about the actual sequence of events of how the attack happened. Let me go on to read to you further from this FIR. And this FIR is very illuminating. Don't go by media reports, sir. Go straight to the source. Now let me read for the benefit of Lokesh Jindal. Lokesh Jindal, listen to this FIR. I think Mr. Kuntal Krishna wants to respond. Before you come in, Mr. Kuntal Krishna, let me read to you further. It says, दुकानों, मकानों व चूड़ी वालों की दुकानों से करीब 100-150 व्यक्ति हाथों में लाठी व डंडा लेकर समूह के रूप में पूर्व से सुनियोजित षड्यंत्र के तहत जानलेवा हमला किया, जिस पर तैनात थानाधिकारी व नियोजित पुलिस द्वारा बचाव करने का प्रयास किया तो सभी लोगों ने एक राय होकर बाइक रैली में शरीक लोगों के साथ मारपीट की तथा पुलिस जामा के राज्य कार्य में बाधा उत्पन्न कर मेरे व हमराही के साथ मारपीट की। हमले में शरीक शमसुद्दीन पुर्फ अलाउद्दीन, and then he goes and names all the people who are in that area. Mr. Krishna, here is an SHO, let me repeat, the SHO of the Rajasthan police who is saying सुनियोजित पूर्व षड्यंत्र के तहत 150 लोगों ने हाथ में लाठी और डंडे लेकर इस बाइक रैली पर हमला किया। पुलिस वालों ने रोकने की कोशिश की तो हमारे साथ मारपीट की। Now tell me who has bad body language?
Padmaja, let me tell you something. This is not a SHO saying, this is a first information report, and every first information report in this country is being registered on the name of SHO. This is first information report, and that first information report is being investigated. If you go further, you will also find that what is the time of response after this your so-called Suniyojit Hamla. There was another mob which came from nowhere and they tossed around 45 of shops.
Sir,
and went to nowhere.
How is it possible? Just a second,
So
just a second.
this
Guru
all
Prakash,
things
how
are
is
being,
it possible
these are all things
that
which are being investigated,
the first information
Padmaja.
report says कि बाइक रैली पर सुनियोजित हमला हुआ, but 6 days later the DGP says कि provocation तो बाइक रैली का था, ये तो reaction था एक्शन का. So 6 दिन में FIR has been turned on its head.
No, Padmaja, you see, Congress party is getting entangled in its own argument, and this is a pointless. No. This is सुन लीजिए जरा, देखिए, this is a very pointless argument. Now you are questioning the FIR. Now you are questioning the intention of the SHO when the SHO is categorically mentioning that you are making it a minority versus majority issue. The issue is of law and order. You are the one who is trying to communalize the entire debate. You are suggesting that it's a minority versus majority debate. The question is not that. Rajasthan government has failed on the front of law and order. Accept it with grace. It is not we are saying. It is what the NCRB has suggested. You have topped the list in crime against women and what not. Everywhere. This incident categorically indicates the understanding between the cops, administration and the Mafia Raj over there. And your party, your office bearer, Mr. Matloob Ahmad, who is belonging from your party, is directly involved in this case, and now you are trying to do this questioning the SHO's wisdom. I do not support that, but you must come out. We must have a judicial probe with all the relevant stakeholders in this case.
Should there be a judicial probe? Lokesh Jindal.
First of all, Padmaja, when we are talking about this entire incident, we are mixing up crisis management along with investigation. Both are completely different domains altogether. When the crisis occurs, the police has a different protocol altogether. There is a need for community partnership. There is a need for mitigation of the crisis from restricting it into turning a disaster. Now when you are mixing this up with investigation, it's a complete mockery that we are making out of ourselves. Secondly, when we are talking about this entire incident, it clearly shows that after the providential will of having some form of a Hindu-Muslim unity, of having a 2nd April as a day of Ramzan as well as the day of Navratri, we see that the rightists, they were getting those warning signals, because once it's all done, Hindu-Muslim unities realize they are short of fuel. And what we see 1st of April itself, they begin with the halal meal controversy. 2nd of April itself, they come up with loudspeaker issue. And on this 2nd of April itself, they come out with the rally whereby their own person, Rajaram Gujar, is inciting the mobs. And when the mobs gets incited, when the crisis develops, the police intervenes, brings about some form of a crisis management and community partnership. You portray a picture that it is very much the conspiracy of the Congress and try to malign the image of the government. Whereas the truth is, it is very much a part of one whole Shadyantra of BJP, RSS, so as to prepare for the 2023 elections. Now when I'm talking about Karauli, it is very much located in the Bharatpur division, which finds its inroads into
connected the dots
Madhya
from
Pradesh.
Karnataka to Karauli, and he has seen through your Shadyantra. Guru Prakash.
No, Padmaja, if you raise your voice, it doesn't mean that your argument is full of logic or rationality. Elections keep happening in this country. Today there are MLA elections, tomorrow there will be MP elections, day after tomorrow there will be councillor election. So linking each and every incident to an election, that's a very futile argument. This is something which the opposition has been doing repeatedly. But let me make this very clear. We have said this time and again. Why is it so that the Rajasthan tops in every other list when it comes to crime? They have no answer to that. In this case, where it is categorical that Mr. Matloob Ahmad hand is in this involvement in this case, but they are not coming out clean. We are just, I did not speak. I can speak louder, sir. I can speak louder, sir. I can speak louder. No one spoke when you spoke, sir. No one spoke when you spoke. Have the decency and patience. Have the decency and patience when other people are speaking. This is your dignity. Have a graceful debate, sir. Have a graceful debate, sir. Have a graceful debate when you have no argument to shouting. Shout.
You do not shout anything about Mr. Jindal, please let's not shout, because apparently bad body language has now become a crime. So let's all have good body language on TV. Let him finish, then you respond.
Yes.
No, when they don't have, when they're bereft of any logic, they're bereft of any rationality, they shout. So we are sort of, we have accepted that as a reality. They don't have any answer. And sir, it is not I suggesting, it is the data that is suggesting. Every other day, only a couple of months ago, a Dalit was burnt to death. Before that, a Dalit woman was raped. For how many explanations? How many explanations are you going to give for this incident that is happening in Rajasthan? It is not a one-off incident. It is not a single incident. But this is, like I said, it is a communal conspiracy by the Congress party, supported, promoted and encouraged by the Congress party. They don't want the Hindus to celebrate their festivals. And it is not only in Rajasthan. I can give you 100 such incidents that is happening across the country. So please don't try to hide behind the process of investigation. Don't try to hide behind the process of administration. This is your understanding, this is the alliance, and this must be exposed at all costs.
Dr. Raman.
Mr. Guru Prasad wanted the answer as to, why every crime is happening so in such numbers in Rajasthan. Now, first we'll have to understand a few things. So the same NCRB data that you give us, Mr. Guru Prasad, the crimes against women in Rajasthan have shown a 295% increase over 10 years, which is the highest. There is also one reason, and that is being postulated as responsible for this rise, is that the law and order machinery has improved to the extent that people are more willing to come forward and complain and register a complaint. Second point.
Yes.
Rajasthan 295% increase. Kerala 265% increase. Uttar Pradesh, it has doubled. So what are we talking about? 10% of all crimes, according to the same NCRB in the country, happen in one state, UP.
Okay.
So please, Mr. Guru Prasad, spare us the logic of going through NCRB data.
Okay, spare us the logic, you say. I want to actually steer you back to the more specific issue of what happened and listen to the man who was present there. You want to discount what has been said by the SHO in the first information report as something that is under investigation. Now, listen to the people, one of the people who is accused of provoking the stone pelting on himself, and listen to what he went through. This is the eyewitness account of somebody who says that he was attacked and stabbed only because he was a part of that procession. Listen.
भगवा रैली बड़े शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से, शांति से, सर्व समाज के जिसमें लोग शामिल थे, युवा शामिल थे, सभी जाति बिरादरी के लोग शामिल थे, बड़ी शांतिपूर्ण ढंग से रैली निकल रही थी। किंतु हटवारा बाजार, जिसमें मुस्लिमों का ज़्यादा बाहुल्य है, उनका प्री प्लान्ड था, शायद ऐसा लगा। जैसे ही रैली उस बाजार से निकली, हटवारा बाजार से निकली, तो ताबड़तोड़ पत्थरबाजी, मस्जिदों पे से पत्थरबाजी, घरों पे से पत्थरबाजी, ज़बरदस्त पत्थरबाजी की उन लोगों ने। नीचे उतर के फिर कुछ लोगों को पकड़ के मारा भी। हमारे संत उस रैली में थे, उनको भी जान बचा के थोड़ा सा इधर उधर होना पड़ा। कई लोग घायल हो गए हैं, कई लोग जयपुर रेफर कर दिए गए हैं।
आपके कितनी लगी है?
धारदार हथियारों से हमला किया है उन्होंने।
आपका किससे हमला किया गया और आपके कितनी लगी है?
मेरा एक तो ये फ्रैक्चर है, पीछे चाकू मारा है पीछे।
All right, answer that, Sumanth Raman.
Again, Padmaja, there are videos and visual evidences which are available. The police will have to go through them. They will have to find out the background, the circumstances behind these videos.
Sir, what circumstance makes it okay to stab a man?
No, sir.
What circumstance makes it okay? Under X circumstance, it's okay to descend on a procession and stab them.
At last count, 21 people have been arrested. 45 people have been detained. This is the information that the state police has given. It is very likely that the person who was injured this man may be one of those 21. We don't know.
Right.
You are jumping. You want to conduct this media trial.
Sir, there is no media trial. Let me remind you that if there has been a trial and a verdict, it has been the people who are investigating who have already said that there were provocative slogans. Hence, this is an action to a reaction, or rather a reaction to an action, which pretty much, by the way, is the logic for every riot. Every riot is a reaction to an action.
Have you given the video evidence to the SIT?
Yes.
I've been asking this for the last
Thank you very
3 days.
much for being a vigilant citizen, and the answer to that is yes. Now?
You have given it.
Yes, now?
Congratulations. I'm delighted.
You're
that
welcome,
you
sir.
Done your duty, and now you have to let the police.
We are greatly flattered.
And conclude the investigation.
Okay, so we wait for the conclusion of the investigation. But tell me, why did the police not wait for the conclusion of the investigation to say that there was bad body language and provocative slogans and actions to which people were forced to react?
This is not the result of the SIT probe.
Padmaja, can I come in?
Ad hoc statement made by one police official.
This is not one police official. That is the DGP of the state. And I have to say that as a supporter of the police and the government, you're not doing a very good job for them. You are saying the DGP is making an ad hoc statement about a riot. That doesn't behove any police official to make an ad hoc statement.
Of course it is made. Basically, when an incident happens, prima facie, based on what is reported, there is a statement made. That does not...
Right. So according to you, the SHO made an ad hoc FIR. The DGP has made an ad hoc statement. Let's just hope the investigation doesn't end up being as ad hoc as all of the actions that we've seen so far, because there are people who were injured and there were people whose livelihoods and lives were damaged. Right now, the demand is that there should be a judicial investigation, there should be a court-monitored investigation. Can the current investigation by the SIT be trusted? We leave it to the wisdom of our viewers. In fact, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining.